This week, the HPT makes its inaugural visit to the Thunder Valley Casino Resort in Lincoln, California, just outside of the capital city of Sacramento. This five-diamond resort attracted over 540 players, creating a monstrous prize pool worth over $785,000. After 535 eliminations, the final 9 are set to play under the national spotlight of the HPT and compete for the top prize of over $180,000. Life-changing money, prestige, and HPT immortality are on the line.
This is the HPT.
Sit right down, put on your poker face, you with the big dogs now. Better bring your best game, talk trash all you want. To me it's all the same, you won't leave with much when you come in second place. And I'm the one with the stack showing 7 to the jack. Gon' cry to your mama cause I'm sending you back. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. Last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand.
Hello and welcome to the HPT. I'm Fred Bevel. By my side is poker professional Maria Ho, and we are at one of our newest and already one of our favorite stops, the Thunder Valley Casino Resort in Lincoln, California, just outside of the capital city of Sacramento.
Thunder Valley is an amazing property. We spend a lot of time in casinos and resorts across the country, but this five-diamond resort not only offers luxury at every turn, it also has a family feel thanks to the great staff. It's no surprise that Thunder Valley rules the landscape.
The local players in the area have been enjoying this facility for a while, and now the HPT faithful have been made aware of this great casino resort, which means future HPT events here at Thunder Valley will continue to grow. Our first visit here drew over 540 players, making this one of the largest first-time events in HPT history.
Over $785,000 was up for grabs, and after 535 eliminations, the final 9 are ready to play for the championship and the top prize of over $180,000 in cash.
This final table has the makings of an instant classic, Maria. Mel Weiner is making his second consecutive final table. Last week he took third at the Commerce Casino. And joining him are 2 ladies looking to become only the 4th female champion in HPT history. We also have a poker pro and a retired poker pro. All are self-made entrepreneurs and executives.
I have a feeling that this will be a fun one to watch. Let's take a look at what these players are playing for, their starting chip counts, and then we'll get right to the action. First place prize is over $180,000. Second place is also in the 6 figures, just over $110,000. And our 9th place finisher will be taking home upwards of $15,000 today.
And here is what everybody is starting with as we begin final table play.
Coming into the final table as our chip leader is Yotam Shmoylov. He has a quarter of the chips in play. Kevin O'Donnell is in the 2nd chip position. And our short stacks at this final table is Andrew Higgins and Mel Weiner with less than 20 big blinds.
Action at this final table begins with Mel, and he is going to fold as the blinds are 25 and 50,000 with a 5,000 chip ante.
And fold.
And this is Yotam, and he's going to raise it up, makes it 100,000 to go.
Yotam raises to 100,000.
Action quickly folds around the table.
And now
We are on Kevin now. Kevin O'Donnell has just under $1 million in career winnings. He's going to lay it down. This is Kirby Nunn. She's a retired air traffic controller. And that young lady is Lori Bear, owns her own preschool.
Glad to see more than one woman at the final table.
And in the 9 seat, Will Chow with over 130,000 in career winnings.
And first hand at this final table, somebody has aces.
looks like a re-raise.
Will re-raises to 225,000 with pocket aces.
25,000.
And in the 1 seat is Michael Rosenbach. He is going to lay it down, and now we're back to Yotam, the original pre-flop raiser. Staring down a 3-bet with King Jack suited. He's going to make the call.
Although King Jack suited is somewhat speculative to be calling a 3-bet with, Yotam is our chip leader coming into this final table, and I think he just wants to splash around.
The first flop of the day brings Deuce Jack 9 Rainbow.
Will's first to act from the small blind. I think Will should just bet here. The fact that Yotam had called his 3-bet pre-flop signifies to Will that he probably has somewhat of a strong hand, and I don't think Will wants to miss any streets of value with aces.
Well, he has put out a bet. It's 350,000.
I think Yotam should just call here, not get too out of line.
And that's exactly what he does. So on to the turn we go.
The turn is the 4 of clubs. Ace is still best.
Action starts.
Yotam still top pair. That could be tragic for him.
Will check. So real.
And I think now Will wants to get tricky. He and you know, before I could even say he checks, Yotam says all in and falls for it. And I mean, Will, how can you even think for longer than 0.0 seconds?
Well, Will giving it a little bit of thought before he makes the call, and now they are all in the middle.
King Jack of hearts.
Drama brewing first hand of the final table. The river is a 4 of diamonds, and Will is going to double up with pocket aces. Over 3 million chips in this pot, and just like that, Will is going to catapult up the chip ladder.
This is definitely a word of caution for other people. When you do want to call 3-bets with hands like King Jack suited, you have to make sure that you flop more than just one pair before you're ready to get it all in.
I have no idea what you got.
Blinds continuing at 25 and 50,000 with a 5K. This hand action will start with the young and talented Kirby Nunn. He's a retired air traffic controller, so this woman knows a thing or two about pressure.
Absolutely. I'm sure that is much more stressful than what happens on the poker table.
He folds. Lori folds.
Action folding around now to the 1 seat of Michael. He's going to lay it down. Mel lays it down.
Folds.
To the 3 seat of Andrew Higgins. Pocket jacks it is, and he's going to go all in.
Andrew came into this final table with 15 big blinds, so this is a very standard shove for his stack. But unfortunately for Andrew, Joe woke up with an even bigger hand, pocket queens, behind him, and quickly calls Andrew's all in.
That's it. We flip the cards over.
Plans on using his money that he wins today for business investment. He's the president and CEO of an alarm company.
Joe flips over. Pocket queens. Queen and
Andrew's going to be looking for a jack in order to win this hand and double up.
the queens.
The flop is ace 5-4 rainbow, so no help at all for Andrew here.
Andrew's calling for a jack. He knows that if he doesn't hit, he is going to be eliminated in 9th place.
7 of diamonds is the turn, so a jack and only a jack. This is what 5% looks like, my friends. That is the only card that will save Andrew's final table. It does not come. The 9 of spades falls on the river, and that is going to do it. Almost $16,000 are the spoils for Andrew's run here at Thunder Valley Casino Resort Hotel. Nice job. Maria, 2 hands in, 2 all ins. These chips are going to be flying high today. More poker from the Thunder Valley Casino Resort when we come back.
Welcome back to the HPT here from Lincoln, California, just outside of Sacramento. The HPT is on the road here at the Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Maria and Fred, let's get back to the final table action.
Here's a look at our updated chip counts after Yotam doubled Will up. Will has now become our chip leader with just under 4 million in chips. Yotam, who started as the chip leader at the final table, is now in 2nd place with just over 2.3 million. And Mel Weiner, unfortunately, is our very short stack with 6 big blinds.
Moving on now, action still at 25 and 50 with a 5K ante. This time, it's the fabulous Lori Bear. She's got 9 jack offsuit. Into the muck they go. Along with Will. Over to Michael now. He's frustratingly folding. Mel probably booking bets on his phone as we speak.
Now to Joe on the button. Gets a little nudge from Kevin. Folds.
As I pull it in under the thing, and then I do it.
And I saw an 8.
It's a raise by Kevin to
It's an 8-3, and he's going to raise it to 115,000. Action now on Kirby Nunn.
It was, really? Yeah, it was.
Kirby in the big blind looks down at Queen 7 of diamonds.
You go out here. Just do it in here where you can't.
In a blind versus blind situation, I would definitely call with that hand. A call.
And she is going to oblige. She does call.
She has Kevin dominated on the diamonds.
Heads up to the flop, blind versus blind.
And the flop is ace-10 for 2 diamonds. Both players have a flush draw. Kirby has the higher flush draw. I imagine Kevin is going to continuation bet here.
165.
You're right about that again, Maria. He makes it 165,000. Question now, does Kirby just flat call this, or does she raise here on a semi-bluff? I'd love it if she raised.
I think it's an easy spot for Kirby to raise, actually. Like I said, it's blind versus blind. Kevin doesn't necessarily need an ace to raise from the small blind pre-flop, and I think Kirby can just shut this hand down and take down the pot if she raises.
To the turn we go. It brings the 9 of diamonds, so here we are, both players with a flush. Kirby's got the big flush. Kevin is going to check with a flush, so you know what his plans are. Here comes Kirby.
275,000.
Kirby bets 275,000. Kevin, thinking he's being slick here, checking it over to her and now taking his time to call, really has no idea he's actually drawing dead because Kirby has the bigger flush.
And he is going to raise it, makes it 575,000 to go.
175,000.
And if I were Kirby, I would just call for 2 reasons. One, she doesn't have the nut flush, and so she doesn't want to re-raise here. But also because if Kevin was check raising on a bluff, she also doesn't want to scare him off.
But Kirby is going to go all in now.
Can you pull in the
And now Kevin actually has a decision. You can tell that he doesn't think Kirby would do this without a flush, and Kevin only has an 8-high flush.
So you're thinking Kevin's going to get away from this hand here?
I think there's a chance he could, but I mean, it is hard to fold a flush. She just looks so comfortable, and I think Kevin has played long enough and is an experienced enough of a player to get away from this hand, actually.
And he is going to make the call, and he's going to see the bad news that he is drawing dead going to the river.
Card flipped over, Kevin shows.
And the way he turns his card over, he just hates it. And, you know, it's just an unfortunate situation, and Kevin didn't seem to be able to get away from it this time.
Diamonds for a higher flush.
The river is insignificant. Let's just throw it out there since we have to, and we'll award over 3.7 million in chips to Kirby's stack, and that's going to make this young lady a contender.
Blinds are still 25,000, 50,000 with a 5K ante.
Mel Weiner wakes up with pocket sixes. He's going to ship it all into the middle.
With 6 big blinds, he's surely going to get called in one spot at least. Most likely, if it's folded around to the big blind is going to call with pretty much any 2.
Action's been folded around to Lori. Lori Bear from Santa Cruz, California is a daycare owner, preschool owner. She folds.
325.
Will in the 9 seed has woken up with an ace here, ace 9.
It's a call here from the big blind with ace 9. I think Will's just trying to get the exact count.
We saw Mel at the final table just last week at the Commerce Casino in Commerce, California, just outside of Los Angeles. He took second there, and he was one time the short stack in Commerce. So let's see if Mel's got another big run in him this week. It all starts with this hand here. Mel hoping to fade an ace or a 9 on this board and get the double up he needs. That'll get him just under 700,000 in chips.
9 of hearts. The 6 is in the lead.
Flop, queen, jack.
And the flop is king 4-8. 2 diamonds. Will has the ace of diamonds in his hand, but Mel 6s still
Mel
bets.
trying to double through.
Mel faded the flop. 2 more streets to go. Here comes the turn.
Card is the deuce of clubs.
The turn is the deuce of clubs, still safe for Mel. Mel just needs to fade 1 more card on the river, and he will double up.
Otherwise, the 6s will double up. Let's go ahead and see that river, please. River card.
The river card is the 3 of hearts. He has faded everything, and Mel is going to double up.
Oh, Mel.
I love this guy.
I'm glad we get to keep him around.
Mel is a bracelet winner from the 1996 World Series of Poker, and he just got new life at this final table. More poker from Thunder Valley when we come back. Welcome back to the HPT. I'm Fred Bevel, she's Maria Ho, and these are our final table players.
And the chip lead keeps changing hands. Kirby Nunn is now our chip leader with 3.7 million. Will Chow right behind her with just over 3.5 million. And we've got two shorties here in the danger zone are Kevin O'Donnell and Mel Weiner.
Yeah, you can see both Kevin and Mel under 20 big blinds. They're going to have to catch hands like Mel just did or start making some plays. Action folding around now. We're on Kirby again. This time it's King Jack.
Kirby is one tough cookie, and she is proving that she's in a no bluff zone.
Kirby's got a solid game. You've survived 542 players to get to the final table. You deserve street cred. That's all I'm saying.
120.
She's going to raise it up, makes it 120,000. Lori and Will both fold. We're back over to Mike now.
Over to the 1 seat, Michael.
Mike sporting the more traditional poker wear, earbuds, hoodie. He's just missing the sunglasses.
And he's going to call with 9-8 off from the button. That's a bit loose in my opinion.
Mel Weiner here has woke up with Ace King.
I'm gonna raise.
And Mel Weiner here with only 10 big blinds is going to raise. I would imagine that he's just going to shove his chips all in right now.
Well, he announced the raise and then put out the calling chips, and yep, here come the rest of them. He is all in. Yotam quickly folds. We're back over to Kirby.
I think Kirby is committed to calling. It's only 465,000 more. She's getting about 2 to 1 on her money. She doesn't know that she's dominated.
Boy, if Kirby calls here, it's going to be really tough for Mike to get rid of this hand. He's going to get Walmart prices to see a flop, even though it's expensive. Michael does lay it down, so here we go with a showdown. Mel tables his ace-king suited, and Kirby's like, oh, no. Crushed.
It's not going to cost Kirby all that much, though, if she were to double Mel up here. Kirby's looking for a jack or some hearts in order to eliminate Mel.
Up against the King Jack, the Ace King currently in the lead. Mel trying to...
Here comes the flop. It is 7, 8, 6 with 2 diamonds. Neither player holding a diamond. Remember that Michael in the 1 seat folded 8, 9. He would have had a monster here. The board pairs on the turn with a 7 of spades, so now Kirby hoping to find a jack on the river, or Mel's going to double up again.
And the river is the 10 of spades. Mel is going to live to see another hand. With ace-king, he's going to take this pot down.
Mel Weiner is not going away quietly. His first all-in got him up to just under 700,000. This all-in gets him up to just under 1.5 million. Blinds continuing on at 30 and 60,000 with a 10,000 chip ante. Kevin O'Donnell first to go. He's going to lay it down. Lori folds. Will folds. Back around to Michael. He's got the Brunson.
Michael folds.
200.
OG Mel on the button. King Jack is going to raise it to 200,000.
Why not? Mel, one of my favorite characters of all time on the HPT, and that's a statement. I've been here since 2005, ma'am.
Yotam in the small blind folds. Joe's going to call from the big with ace-3 offsuit.
So with that, ladies and gentlemen,
See if Mel can keep riding this heater. He's 2 for 2 on the pots he's played.
Flop is 3-8 queen rainbow. Joe has hit bottom pair with his 3. Mel just has king high.
Check. 200.
Joe is going to check it over to Mel, and Mel's going to make the expected continuation bet to 200,000. Joe quickly calls with his bottom pair.
And a call. No, that's 200K.
And the turn is the ace of hearts, giving Joe top and bottom pair here. And he's going to check it over to Mel, hoping Mel takes another stab at it, but Mel is going to check behind this time.
River delivers a 9 of clubs, so no help to either player. Joe has the best hand, and he's going to try to get some value out of it with a 450,000 chip bet.
And the board was just so dry on the flop that it's hard for Mel to think that Joe's bluffing here, but he isn't quite sure why he's leading out. If maybe he just had an 8 or a 3, he would probably just check the river. I think Mel's thinking about whether or not he could make a move for this pot.
Mel Weiner, over $1 million in career winnings. So this man knows what he's doing at a poker table. He also has a WSOP bracelet in his pocket. Says he won't wear it because he's afraid it brings him bad luck. And he is going to lay his hand down, and Joe's going to scoop his first pot of the night.
It's been a great week here in Lincoln, California, just outside of Sacramento at the Thunder Valley Casino Resort. When we come back from this quick commercial break, more HPT final table action. Welcome back to the HPT here from the Thunder Valley Casino Resort. It's time to get back to final table action. We'll send things over to Maria and Fred.
Thanks, James. Kirby Nunn is still our chip leader with over $4 million now. She is steadily climbing. And Joe Fernandez has come into the second spot with $2.75 million. Our two short stacks now is Michael Rosenbach and Mel Weiner just treading water.
Oh, yeah.
Blinds continuing at this final table at 30 and 60,000, and we've got a full rail of onlookers at this final table. Everybody has their favorites. Everybody has supporters. Action folded around to Lori. Lori having a tough time with her chip stack there.
I've had the chance to speak to Lori several times. Very, very nice gal, and I hope to see her do well here.
She's a lot of fun, no doubt about it. Action folded now around to Mel.
Mel's going to raise it to $125,000 with Jack 7 offsuit.
Okay, now Mel's getting a little frisky. They gave him chirping chips, and now he's going to do some chirping. He's going to get called by Joe with Queen 10 suited. That's a fun hand right there, Queen 10 suited. Usually going to flop some kind of draw.
And the flop is King, Jack, and Joe has indeed flopped some kind of draw. He has an open-ended straight draw with some backdoor flush possibilities. Mel has paired his Jack, but chooses to check behind.
Deuce of hearts.
And the deuce of hearts comes on the turn, and that's going to get Joe moving. He's going to semi-bluff his open-ended draw to $125,000, and Mel quickly makes the call with his two pair.
River card, tray of hearts.
The river is the 3 of hearts. Joe has missed, but he is going to continue to fire. $315,000. I'm assuming Mel's just going to call.
He got to fire more than that to shake this old rascal off his hand. He is going to call that every day, twice on Sunday. He makes the crying call, and he's going to turn over his hand and realize he's the winner.
But for Mel, he flips over the Jack of diamonds.
Sometimes you raise Jack 7 off of 12 bigs and it works.
Sometimes. 1.24 million going into Mel Weiner's stack. It's so much fun to see that. He started this table as the short stack, and he is slowly grinding up the chip ladder. Action on this hand will start with Kirby.
She looks down at Queen Jack of diamonds. That's a beaut.
I like that hand too. If King Queen is mom and dad to me, would Queen Jack be like mother son?
Mother daughter.
Mother daughter.
Maybe, or maybe mother son.
What do you want it to be? Let's coin the hand right now.
I guess because it's a Jack, we'll call it mother son.
Mother son it is.
As does.
She just limps the 60,000 with Queen Jack suited.
Action's folding around to Mel, still stacking his chips from the last hand. He's going to fold.
Mel folds.
Over to Yotam. He's going to lay it down. Joe's going to flat with ace 10.
Call. We have an option now, and the option is checked.
And Kevin O'Donnell's going to check his option from the big blind with King 8 of hearts.
All right, Dan, let's go ahead and see the flop.
Three-handed as we go to the flop.
Flop is 4, King 3, couple of diamonds. Kirby has flopped a flush draw. Kevin has flopped top pair. And Joe just has ace high and checks over to Kevin, who also checks.
Action now to Kirby. She's not going to semi-bluff her straight draw. The turn brings the Jack of clubs. That makes things interesting. Now Joe has a gut shot straight draw. Kirby still with the flush draw, also has a pair to go with it. And it's Kevin with top pair that's going to make the first bet. He fires $135,000.
I imagine that Kirby's going to make the call. She does have a pair of jacks as well as the flush draw. Raising doesn't really make a lot of sense.
She does call, and Joe folds before Kirby can get her calling chips out.
Kirby's got quite a few outs going to the river. She's looking for a queen, a jack, or a diamond.
Cards, the ace of spades.
None of those fall. It's the ace of spades. Kevin's going to check over to Kirby. Let's see if she tries to make a play on the river.
she wants to turn this hand into a bluff, she's going to have to bet at least in the neighborhood of 380,000 or so. I don't think Kevin's going to fold for less than that.
She is going to fire, but really small bet, just 150,000. An old school gambler would call this a post-oak bluff, which is a bluff that's really disguised as a value bet. And it looks like it might work. Kevin's thinking here.
Wow.
I still just don't think it's enough for Kevin to fold here. He only has to be right 1 out of every 4.5 times to make this call profitable, and he is going to call.
And Kirby's going to show her jacks and misdraw, and Kevin's going to table the top pair and scoop the pot. Boy, she had him thinking with just a small bet of 150,000. I think, Maria, you're right. She fires out a, 300,000 or 400,000 chip bet. She might get him to lay that down. A moment ago, you heard me refer to the post-oak bluff. The gentleman who coined that phrase is the legend himself, Doyle Brunson. We're proud to bring you this new feature here on the HPT. It's called A Poker Life with Doyle Brunson, brought to us by our friends at Ace Play Poker. This week, Doyle tells us about his longest poker session ever.
I do remember I played 5 days and 5 nights. That was on Exchange. It wasn't at Sharp Club, but it was a good game, and I didn't do drugs. I didn't take any speed or anything. I just, unless you could count coffee, I'm sure I drank a barrel of coffee. But I just sat there, and I got the game was good, and just kept going and going. And a lot of the guys played long hours. I saw Johnny Moss and Paul Harvey, a guy, not the Paul Harvey, but a different one. And they played one time from Monday till Friday. They slept Saturday and Sunday, came back the next Monday, and played till the next Friday. It was an awesome exhibition of endurance. And I guess because being a former athlete, that I had a lot of endurance. And so I could sit with them.
It's been a roller coaster of a ride for some of these players at the final table, and it's only just beginning. You don't want to miss what's next.
Thanks for coming back to the HPT. We are at this beautiful 5-diamond property that is the Thunder Valley Casino Resort Hotel, and we have some money to be awarded at this final table. Let's get right back to the action.
And looky here, the ladies have the number 1 and 2 spots locked down here on the chip counts. Kirby Nunn with over 4 million. Lori Bear right behind her with 2.5 million. And our short stacks are Mel Weiner and Michael Rosenbach with under 20 big blinds.
A lot more poker to be played yet. Lori hasn't been splashing around a whole lot. She's been kind of quiet, waiting for her chance to pounce. Blinds continue at 30 and 60,000 with a 10,000 chip ante. Action here is going to start with Joe. He's going to fold. Over to Kevin. Not good enough. Kirby says no thank you. And now Lori Bear. Lori from Santa Cruz, California, decides not to play. Will has, again, the best hand in poker. He's going to raise it up to 135,000.
It's a raise now.
Michael looks down at King 10 right behind him. I think if he wants to play this hand, I would prefer him to 3-bet here rather than just flat. I don't think King 10 offsuit plays that well against a pre-flop raiser.
He does 3-bet. He 3-bets all of them. And with 14 big blinds, he's got a 3-bet shove kind of a stack.
Mel. Yotam folds from the floor.
He still does have a little bit of fold equity, but I'm not sure, given the late positions, if Will's going to fold King Queen to him for 715,000 more.
Call has been made, ladies and gentlemen.
And Will decides to call.
Well, Will is going to like what he sees. He is dominating this hand. They both share the king. Will has him out kicked with the queen.
King of diamonds, 10 of
And I
clubs.
always say it, Maria, you never believe me. King Queen always wins.
And the flop is ace 7 5 2 diamonds. So far, King Queen is still ahead.
Say it again.
King Queen is still ahead.
I just love it when you say that.
Mike's looking for running diamonds or a 10 in order to double up. Otherwise, he will be eliminated in 8th place.
The turn is a 10 of spades, so now Mike pulls ahead of King Queen.
What hands ahead now?
There's no justice in poker.
Will's looking for a queen on the river or a jack for Broadway in order to snatch this hand back from Mike.
The river is the 4 of spades. No love for Will. Mike is going to double up after hitting the 10 on the turn and just, you know, okay, king, queen didn't come home this time, but it was dominating. And just like that, Mike goes from 14 to 31 big blinds. So from the red zone to comfortable, just like that. And boy, this hand will not stay away from me today. King, queen suited for Kirby.
I swear these hands are rigged just so you get to commentate on your favorite hand. I'm sick of king, queen.
One of these days, I'm going to snap a big cash pot from you with king, queen. It's going to be the sweetest pot I'll ever win.
Raise. 120.
Kirby raises it to 120,000 with king, queen suited. I mean, I've even got to admit that when it's suited, it does look pretty.
It does, doesn't it? Mike's going to fold. Over to Mel. He lays it down. Over to Yotam. Uh-oh. King, queen doesn't like ace, king. They don't play well together.
Wait, I'm sorry. What hand is in the dominating
Just
position
easy.
here?
That's an all.
Here he goes. All of them in the middle.
Yotam is going to shove his 31 big blind stack into the middle with ace king.
Back to the original raiser of Kirby.
This is for a lot of Kirby's chips as well. Almost half of them. Oh, she makes the call. She is not a believer, but she is going to find out. She is dominated in this hand. It'll be Kirby Nunn looking to get lucky here with either a queen or clubs on this board.
Kirby, mom and dad.
Otherwise, she's going to double up Yotam.
The king queen of clubs.
And the flop is 9, jack, 10. Wow, Kirby just smacks into this flop with a straight. Yotam is not happy about that. He is going to need to catch a queen in order to make a higher straight.
The turn card,
There's
please.
only 3 queens left in the deck.
The turn brings the 3 of clubs. No help to Yotam, so Kirby poised to eliminate Yotam unless Yotam gets lucky on the river with just a queen. Oh no!
And just like that, Yotam hits a 3-outer on the river to snatch this huge pot back and save his tournament life, doubling up here with ace-king. Wow.
And Yotam spikes the football, does the icky shuffle, all of that after winning this hand. And Kirby just looks at the board in shock.
Nice hand. Thank you.
Wondering how that happens, but being a classy lady that she is, gives him a handshake and says, nice hand.
Blinds go up to 40,000, 80,000 with the 10,000 ante. Button starts on Mel in seat 2.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Donnell first to act. He looks down at ace 10.
180.
And he's going to raise it up, makes it 180,000.
Kevin's only got 15 big blinds to start this hand, and I think he's in raise fold mode with this hand.
Well, action's folding around the table after Kevin's raise. We're on Mel now. Mel's going to fold over to the blinds. Yotam in the small folds. It's 7 queen for Joe in the big blind. He's going to go ahead and make the call. He was already invested being in the big blind. Why not just complete the raise?
But against Kevin's stack size, I don't like that call at all from Joe. I think you need to just fold because sometimes, like for instance now when you flop bottom pair with the 7, but Kevin's got an open-ended straight draw, you're just going to end up committing more chips with no idea where you're at really. Kevin raised under the gun with such a short stack that he could have had a huge hand in this spot.
All right, you need to talk slower. I can't keep up with my note-taking. I learned so much from being next to you. The flop is 8 of clubs, 7 of spades, 9 of spades. Joe's going to check over to Kevin. Kevin's going to fire 300,000. And whoa, Joe snap all ends and Kevin snap calls.
And it was an all
Maria, just like that, Joe's got all his money in the middle with 7 queen. He's ahead, but you can see statistically they're 50-50. Kevin's got 2 live overcards as well as an open-ended straight draw.
I think you just get yourself in trouble when you call from the big blind with a hand like Queen 7 against, you know, a 15 big blind stack from under the gun. The turn is the king of spades, and Joe has the better spade in his hand.
So it's a non-spade 6, jack, or ace for Kevin to suck out and double up here against Joe.
And the river is the jack of diamonds. These short stacks at this final table just keep doubling up.
The winner of the
High-flying action from the Thunder Valley Casino Resort Hotel. We got a long way to go. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the HPT, coming to you from Lincoln, California, just outside of Sacramento.
Thank you, James. Yotam Shmoylov has regained that top spot that he came into this final table with just under $4 million in chips. Kevin O'Donnell now in the second spot with $2.5 million. And just hang on by a thread, Joe Fernandez has only 5 big blinds.
Only 5 big blinds after that big hand he got tangled up with Kevin O'Donnell. Blinds are 40 and 80,000 with a 10,000 chip ante. Kirby Nunn is under the gun, retired air traffic controller. She looks down at King Jack.
And Kirby's been a little bit active at this final table. I think 8-handed, she could afford to just fold King Jack off with 25 big blinds, but she's gonna limp instead.
Little side note about Kirby, she is into this entire event for just $80. She started on one of our smaller satellites and grinded her way into the main event, and here she is in the top 8.
You hear a lot of those stories here on the HPT. That's why this is such a great tour. It's affordable for anybody. She could come in and at least make $19,000 tonight.
That's a good parlay off $80. Mel's going to make the call with 10-8. Action's folding around now to Kevin O'Donnell.
3 players. Let's see the flop.
The flop is 7 deuce 9. Couple of clubs there.
Big flop for Mel. He's got the open-ended straight draw. And he's going to check it rather than semi-bluff it.
The turn is the Jack of Spades. Kirby now has top pair, but Mel did hit his straight on the turn. But it is Kevin who's going to try to take this pot down with a bet of $135,000. Little does he know that both Kirby and Mel behind him have hands to not only call, but Mel's most likely going to raise it.
Cool.
Kirby is going to flat call.
Call.
I'm surprised that Mel didn't bet his open-ended straight draw on the flop in position, but I guess it paid off because now he's going to raise it to $435,000. He's got a lot of dead money in there already from Kevin's bet and Kirby's call. Kevin's obviously going to let this go as he has air, but he might get a call from Kirby here.
Kirby with top pair, second kicker. You know, a hand like 10-8, it can be kind of sneaky. Not a lot of people see that one coming down the road.
Especially, like I said, since Mel didn't bet on the flop, it's hard for people to put him on the open-ended straight draw.
Well, his check turns out to be a profitable one as he's gotten Kirby to call his 300,000 chip raise on the turn.
All right.
And the river is the 5 of diamonds, and I think this is gonna make Kirby check call because it doesn't look like the flush got there from the flop, and the board seems pretty safe for her hand.
That's a bunch of rags underneath that jack. She's got to feel pretty good about top pair here.
All in.
It's an all
Uh-oh, Kirby goes all in. Mel makes the snap call, turns over the nut straight.
10 of clubs, 8 of clubs.
I'm sorry to say, but that was a huge misstep on the river for Kirby. The worst thing she could have done is to go all in into Mel on the river.
Big pot going to Mel Weiner. Again, he started this final table as the short stack. Now he is sitting large with over $3 million in chips. Action in this hand's going to start with Will. Queen 3, not good enough for under the gun play. He's going to fold over to Michael. Nothing to celebrate there either. He's going to fold. Mel's going to take this hand off so he can stack those chips. Yotam is going to lay it down.
And Joe declares all in from the cutoff with 5 big blinds, holding Queen 6 of hearts. Nothing wrong with that, but Kirby wakes up with Ace King of hearts in the small blind, and she's going to quickly call his all in.
We flip up the cards, 2 players. We start with Joe.
Although with Kirby only having 11 big blinds, I would have liked to see her 3-bet shove all in there and isolate Joe's all in and keep Lori out of the pot.
Queen 6 going up. Queen 6 of hearts going up against ace king of hearts. Right in the window, a queen.
The flop is 5-9 queen rainbow, and Joe has paired his queen. The short stacks might just keep surviving here.
Kirby hoping to find more hearts or an ace or a king. She gets the heart. The 5 of heart comes on the turn. So we have a sweat going to the river. A heart gets Kirby the nut flush. Otherwise, an ace or a king is what she'll need to suck out and eliminate Joe.
Let's go ahead and see.
The river is the king of clubs, and Kirby is going to eliminate Joe in 8th place here.
Joe going home with just under $20,000 for his good play this weekend here at Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Congratulations, my friend. Of the 542 runners that started our day one in this field, one of them was one of the Bay Area's favorite sons and November Niner, J.C. Tran.
So far in this HPT event, I think I'm running pretty good. Been hitting a few hands, getting lucky, and I got a nice stack. Hopefully I can build it and end the day strong and make it back for day 2. For day 1, I actually like the structure. I like the shorter levels. You know where you're at by the end of the day. I love the re-entry. It gives somebody a second chance if they want to. I think if I were to win this HPT, I think it'd be pretty awesome. It's basically going to define how good I'm running right now, my confidence, obviously, and how well I'm playing. To be able to win it closer to home, I think it'd be cool. This is the first ever tournament that I've played, and I can say where I make it through day 1 and be able to drive home to my own bed.
We started with 9 players at this final table. We have 7 remaining. We'll find out who our new champion is going to be. Don't go too far. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, more final table action. You're watching the HPT.
Thanks for coming back to the HPT. We are at this beautiful 5-diamond property that is the Thunder Valley Casino Resort Hotel, and we have some money to be awarded at this final table. Let's get right back to the action.
Yotam is still sitting comfortably with just under $4 million in chips. Not much movement from him either way. Mel Weiner, though, big movement from the short stack for most of this final table so far. He has now become the second chip leader with over $3.3 million. What a turnaround for him so far. Kirby Nunn is the short stack now, who was once our chip leader, actually. She only has 11 big blinds.
Kirby Nunn started this final table on fire, now sitting with just 11 big blinds. That just shows you how quickly things can change in No Limit Hold'em. In this hand, Lori Bear is on the button, which means first to act is Mel Weiner. He looks down at pocket ducks.
Deuces never loses.
No, that's what bad players say all the time.
Mel does not hear you, and he's going to make it $175,000 to go from under the gun.
Over to Kirby.
Kirby looks down at deuces also. Looks like nobody's going to be flopping a set this hand.
It'd be weird if they did.
It'd be bad if they did. But Kirby with 11 big blinds, she's just got to let that go. It's all right to fold, girl.
And that's what she does. Now we're over to Lori Bear. Lori hasn't played a lot at this final table, and she's going to have to take this hand off, too.
She looks good folding, though.
She's very patient. It's Jack, Queen of Clubs for Will. He's going to oblige and make the call for $135,000.
On to Michael in the big blind. He's going to let his hand go, so it'll be heads up to the flop. Mel with deuces, Will with Queen Jack of Clubs. Will will be first to act.
9 of hearts, 10 of spades.
And the flop brings the 9 of hearts, 10 of spades, King of Clubs. What a flop for Will. He's got the nuts.
And honestly, this flop just smashes so much of Will's calling range from the small blind that if I were Mel, I would just check back.
And that's exactly what Mel does. We know he's not going to hit a set because Kirby folded pocket deuces. The turn is a 6 of diamonds.
And I think given the fact that Mel usually does c-bet the flop, I think Will can pretty much assume that Mel isn't going to bet the turn if checked to him after he doesn't bet the flop. So Will's going to lead this turn and make it $225,000 to go.
Mel says raise it up.
And Mel says raise it to 625. Will instantly goes all in. Maria, help me out here. I mean, we got a full rainbow board. Will is sitting on the absolute stone cold nuts right now. Why play the hand that fast?
Yeah, I definitely would have just called if I were him, and I'm not really sure what Mel was doing. It looked like he was just going to give up on this hand and not lose any more chips, but he decides to check back the flop and try to raise the turn. Either way, this hand's going to be over, and Will probably wouldn't have extracted more value if he just called. I don't know if Mel is going to fire the river, but at least he would have given himself the chance to get a little more value from the nut straight.
Well, Maria, I gotta say, of the 20 events we're gonna do this season on the HPT, and of the 130 plus I've been a part of in this tour's history, the Thunder Valley Casino Resort is already one of my favorites. What is your take on the play at this final table?
Well, you think we're at an amusement park. It feels like we are on a roller coaster of a ride. There have been a lot of crazy hands, a lot of crazy runouts, and these players have been taking it all in stride, which is the most important part, is keeping their composure down to the end game.
Definitely some scary river cards have fallen on the board today. Now, do you think you have what it takes to sit on the HPT final table and play for unreal money? Well, then log on to hptpoker.com and find an event near you. Goodness knows we have plenty to choose from, and we tend to have a lot of fun as well. For Maria Ho and James Larson, I'm Fred Bevel. We'll see you next time right here on the HPT.